when did you start therapy? How, like in adulthood or?
So I did therapy a little bit when I was like a kid, but
Mhm.
I don't really know if it did much. It was just like, go to the doctor, do that. You know, I was very
Sure.
like, I have a lot of energy. So they tried to give me like Ritalin and calm me down. I'm like, no, I'm crazy. Like, let me live, you know?
It became
But
your superpower.
exactly. So I did it a little bit as a kid. And then when I think really dated the first narcissist that I really was with when I was 22, I honestly got to the point where I hated him and I did not want to be with him. Like I felt like I hated him. I did not enjoy our time together besides like intimate things or, you know, a little bit of affection. And I just like why do I feel stuck? Like something's wrong with me. I hate this person. But every time he's nice to me again, I just come back.
Yeah.
Why? I knew something was wrong with me. So I put myself in therapy then, which he knew about and he didn't like it. So I only went a few times.
Sure.
But I realized there, like the lady pulled up a chart and she drew it all out and then was like, it's your mother. Like your mother, because both my parents were addicts. When you're dealing with an addict, you don't know which of them you're going to get. They're nice, they're hot, they're cold. They wake up the next day, they don't remember what they did. And they come in your room again and act like nothing happened. And as a child, that programs you to just allow them to, whenever they want to be nice, it's just easier to be nice.
Yep.
But that programs you to attract narcissists as you grow up because it's like they're hot and cold and you just want it to end. So you just let them back in like family. And that's what I would do. So I started that and then I only did it a little bit. And then I ended up with a narcissist again.
Oh, wait, but how did you end it with the first one?
Oh my God, we would go back off and on for a few years. The therapy didn't last long, but the relationship would go off and on.
But how did you finally pull the plug?
Yeah, eventually narcissists, they bounce onto someone else and then
totally. Okay, so then it was just
to this day though, like all my exes, the family loves me, but I'm just like, no, keep them at a distance, friendly distance,
boundaries.
Exactly. But then when I did really intense therapy, which really changed my life, was a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, probably 4 years ago, and I went 3 times a week for like 9 months, and it was and it was expensive. It was a lot of therapy. Like that therapy costs more than my rent every month.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you do trauma work during?
It changed my life.
Yeah. Did you do like EMDR or what were you doing? What modality? Like,
no, I don't even know what I didn't end up going to her anymore. That went on for like 9 months and then we stopped talking. And then I learned a lot about myself because even I would withhold things from my therapist because I thought she was going to leave me and wouldn't want me to come to therapy anymore. Yeah. Like, so I learned that about myself. And when you go for a long time, you learn about yourself because you're not always going through horrible shit. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes, but that's in those moments you realize more things about yourself when you like stick it out.
Totally.
So that was great. And then now I'm in therapy again. Now I talk to a therapist once a week and I started talking to her ever since I left my last relationship. Every time I go through a breakup, I get a therapist basically because I have the abandonment things start happening. Even if you aren't happy in the relationship and you don't want to be in it, I still have that attachment trauma from my childhood that I have to like try to deal with. And those therapists, they give me the tools that I need. They're like the best thing in the world, in my opinion. I love therapy.
Yeah, sure. And do you feel like you learn something different, like with each therapist? Like
the last one was dealing with like the one that I went to for 3 times a week for 9 months. That was more of like childhood trauma, dealing with my mother, dealing with me being attracted to narcissists, getting into my career. Like I changed my whole life. Yeah. Now it's completely different. Now we talk about like maintaining what I'm doing. She tells me she's proud of me all the time. And like, it's a different kind of therapy because we're not addressing my childhood issues as much. We're addressing what I'm dealing with in my life now and trying to operate at this high level with my business. Sure. And all the stuff that comes with that, which can be a lot.
Yeah, a lot for sure. And that when you have an understanding of how your childhood really influences the relational decisions that you make, but also your behaviors in the relationships, that can be so helpful, but again, doesn't always solve the issue. And as a therapist, as a relationship therapist, I still, I deal with a lot of that. And those attachments, so similar, I deal with a lot of abandonment stuff. And my attachment style is much more push and pull. So I vacillate between the anxious and the avoidant, which you can imagine is quite the mindfuck for anyone I'm in relationship with, because it's like just not knowing what I need at any given moment. And as much work as I've done around it and I continue to do around it, it's in moments when I feel like somebody doesn't care, or I'm not a priority, or they could leave at any moment, it like takes you back to those childhood moments.
Yeah. Triggers you.
Yeah. It's definitely, yeah, for sure. And so I think that that's, you know, I try to remind my clients of that like what we were saying earlier, you can do the work and you just learn to manage it. You learn to be more aware of it, and you learn to try to shut it down quicker or repair quicker if you inevitably do something you know, wish you wouldn't have had done when you were triggered.
Once you know yourself better, which therapy is so great at helping you really figure that out, once you're in it for a certain amount of time, it's like working out. If you just go for a little bit, you're not going to get results. I'm sorry. Right. You have to be committed, because changing and rewiring your brain and what you think is so hard. And I am telling you, I can speak from experience, because I've done it. I'm not all the way there. It's a never ending journey and process, but I have rewired a lot of what I've become attracted to and changed my whole life. And I know it's really hard to do. It is really hard to do. I've messed up a lot, and you have to like forgive yourself, but we all have different issues. Nobody's childhood is perfect. Being in relationships are not perfect. We are struggling. It's just trying to be vulnerable and trying to like not let fear hold you back about your attachment issues and your anxiety. It's all coming from programming that someone else gave us. Totally. Like, I don't want to be controlled by anyone else but myself. So that's why, to me, it's so important to like, it's a drug. People to me are a drug. They're my biggest like addiction because of my family. That's never going to change. You just have to know how to manage it. And like, really, the last breakup, when I was going through that phase, even though I was not happy in this relationship and I didn't want to be in it, it was just like, it wasn't the right fit for either of us, but I still was having those withdrawals and still feeling horrible. I swear, even though I've done so much therapy, Abraham Hicks, literally within 2 weeks, like completely listening to Abraham Hicks and Esther Hicks, like completely got me to change my mindset, and my whole life changed within 2 weeks.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and find me on Instagram at Dr. Elizabeth Fedrick.